Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are taking our very first look at the new Tier 8 French super cruiser, battle cruiser, fast battleship. What even are these things? But that's what we're looking at. The brand new Brest. It's times like these that we got to get a hands-on approach, if you know what I mean. Anyway, let's get this started. Andre Lemonnier is my commander. We are running Francesco Membelli and Norman Scott as our inspirations. We are also using Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, and Fixated with Fully Packed as our commander skills. Now, let's check out the loadout. You'll notice something. I'm not even fully upgraded yet. I only got the first upgrade. But let's go over the rest of the build. We're running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We're running Propulsion Mod 2. We are running Concealment System Mod. And we are running the Epic Main Battery Mod 3, which decreases your reload. Okay? You seeing a theme lately? Yeah, I'm sure you are. Anyway, we have the first upgrade, which I chose to be the Brest Hull B, because it gives us a faster rudder shift and also gives us more hit points. So I do not have the targeting system or the engine yet. So we're not going to be as fast as we could be, and we're not going to be as able to reach out and touch things as we could be. Though this will never be a long-range sniper. You want to be in a position of being hyper-aggressive in these ships. So, let's go over the loadout, shall we? I am opting for the main battery reload booster for obvious reasons. With this build, you get 3 of them. Then, of course, we have the repair party, and we have the engine boost. We are running the Epic Battle Booster because I need that extra range and movement speed for now. It also reduces the cooldown time for your consumables, so I'm using that for now. We have Italian Unity flag because if you squint just right, it kind of looks like a Spartan. Just saying. Anniversary camo because this was my favorite camo on this ship so far. I looked through all my camos that I have and I'm like, yeah, I like this. The historical camo, not a big fan of, to be perfectly honest. Survivability. With this build, we have 55,300 hit points currently. Remember, that'll go up as we, or no, that is the max. Never mind. I lied. We got the hull upgrade, so that gives us more hit points. Anyway, 19% torp damage reduction. Okay. So not great there, but main battery is a 330 millimeter 52 caliber Saint-Chamond MLE 1932. You get 2 quad turrets, both at the front of the ship. 330 millimeters, I believe, is a 13-inch gun, and I do believe that this is the hardest hitting cruiser in the game currently. So think about that when we talk about the rest of the stats. Firing range is 16.6 kilometers currently. Once we get the extra range, it'll go up probably 17.5 to 18 kilometers, something like that. Reload time's horrendously bad. Even with all the things that we've done to buff the reload, it's just 24 seconds flat. Now we do have 3 reload boosters, but when you're reloading as slowly as this thing is, you have to make every shot count as best as possible. Okay? 180 degree turn time, 42.4 seconds is awful. Again, affected by the fact that we're running the Epic main battery booster that nerfs your turret traverse. But these turrets are just slow to begin with. They're quad turrets. It's to be expected, right? They're very heavy. HE shell maximum damage is 4,800 with a 38% chance to set fire. I do not recommend shooting HE out of this ship. AP shell maximum damage is 10,476. Secondary armament, you have 16 139 millimeter 50 caliber MLE 1938s that reach out to 5.2 kilometers, reload in 7 seconds with a maximum HE shell damage of 2,000 and a 13% chance to set fires. AA defense for a cruiser, not too shabby. For what it is. Okay, 20 millimeter 70 Oerlikon Mark 24. You get 36 of those, reaching out to 2 kilometers only, and doing 110 damage per second. 40 millimeter Bofors 56 caliber Mark 1s. You get 8 of those, doing 45 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. Then you have the 40 millimeter Bofors 56 caliber Mark 2s that you have 64 damage per second, 16 guns doing 64 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. Then you have the 139 millimeter 50 caliber MLE 1938 dual purpose secondaries. You get 16 of those, doing 122 damage per second, reaching out to 5.2 kilometers. So while it on paper doesn't look like too bad, again, a lot, as is the situation with most ships in this game, your AA really doesn't kick in until they're on top of you. So once they do get into a position where they're trying to drop bombs or torpedoes, then you're going to start shredding them. Other than that, you're not going to have much standoff AA. Maneuverability, even with this build, not being fully upgraded and all that stuff, 29.2 knots without the engine boost running. With the engine boost running, I have seen speeds of over 34 knots. It's pretty solid. Turning circles, pretty solid as well. Maybe not for a cruiser, but 720 meters is not too shabby for a large ship. Make no mistake, this is a large cruiser or a super cruiser. 13.2 second rudder shift on paper sounds terrible for a cruiser, but in practice, I haven't had too much trouble with it. One of the biggest downsides with our turret traverse is that we can outturn our turrets, which is never fun. That means you're going to do a lot of throttle jockeying in this ship rather than trying to do a lot of wiggle waggling. But this ship, despite its rudder shift being 13.2 seconds, does seem to wiggle pretty well. I haven't noticed it really be bad or anything in terms of the rudder at all. Like, I haven't had any issues there at all. Seems to be relatively agile and does what I need it to do. But again, I'm treating this thing just like I would the Alaska, just like I would the Azuma, just like I would Stalingrad. Like, I'm treating it as a super cruiser. It is not a heavy cruiser. It is not a light cruiser. It is a super cruiser, a fast battleship with no armor, right? So keep that in mind. Detectability, 10.1 kilometers by sea, 6.3 by air, 2 kilometers always guaranteed, and 9.7 kilometers smoke firing penalty for these size guns is insane. That's pretty good. I'll take it. But the detectability by sea is only 10.1 kilometers. That's pretty freaking good. That's not bad. And this isn't even like a full concealment build or anything. So you could do even better. Okay? So let's look at the stats real quick. 50% win rate. I've only played 4 battles so far, but overall, I've enjoyed this thing with a 56% main gun accuracy. I keep hearing everybody talk about how bad these guns are. If you think these guns are bad, you need to go back to gunnery school. Or you need to put Norman Scott on the freaking commander build so that you actually have shell grouping, because anybody who's ever played French anything knows that they have terrible shell grouping. So try to buff your shell grouping, get those shells to stick together, and suddenly this ship will wake up for you. Because I have been averaging 112,000 damage per game in this with an unupgraded version of the ship. So tell me again how it's a bad ship. I don't see it. I just don't. I'm sorry. I love you guys out there, but I just don't see it. And on top of that, our potential damage is 874,000. It's not bad, I'm telling you. Everybody who thinks that this is a bad ship needs to revisit how they're playing it. Set up your commander differently. Try to get the shell grouping the best you can on it, and really buff the reload. And then just have fun in these ships. They're different. They're a completely different playstyle. They are not a sit behind an island. They're not a fire spammer. These things need to be played aggressively. Get into a forward position. Utilize those islands that you love so much, but as an ambush ship rather than a hide at the back of the map and try to like shoot and wonder why your shells are going to the moon. Like, I'm telling you, trust me, these ships are meant to be played more aggressively, utilizing island cover to get close. These engine boosts are fantastic. Allows these ships to slip around with their concealment and get into stupid positions that will just completely catch everybody off guard. Telling you, it's disgusting. So, let's look at the Armour 25 millimeter bow, right? We already know. 25 millimeter can be overmatched by everything 15 inches and above. Not ideal. And if we want to do the math real quick, I'll take the 25 mil and we'll just go ahead and multiply that by 14.3. That gives us the exact amount that'll overmatch it, which is 357 millimeter guns. So 14-inch guns don't overmatch them, but 15-inch guns do. So there you go. Anyway, so we take that bow armor off, which, by the way, keep in mind, like, this thing does have a short snoot. You have two giant quad turrets at the front. Okay? While it does seem like it has a long snoot, you got to think that the Citadel starts at the front gun. So it is very possible that if you get overmatched, that you get absolutely yeeted. So do not give them the bow of your ship. Right? Simple. You will also notice that this thing has a turtleback armor scheme. Wait, what? Has anybody brought this up yet? Yes, it has a turtleback armor scheme, which means it's not as likely to be citadeled when you get caught broadside or over-angled. However, you've got a citadel that goes all the way to the back of the ship and starts all the way at the front gun, meaning there's very little room between the front and the citadel and the rear in the citadel, which means anybody that overmatches you has a chance to go straight through your bow or the butt and citadel you. So keep that in mind, right? All right, now the other thing, not only does this have a turtleback armor scheme, but the citadel is right at the waterline. It's not above the waterline, meaning that even if a shell does make it through the turtleback, it's not guaranteed that it's going to even hit the citadel. It may overshoot. And in that case, you're going to take some damage. You're going to take a lot of penetrations, but you're not going to get citadeled and depth struck as easily. And if you angle the thing, I mean, good God, what more can you ask for? You've got 27 millimeters of upper side plating, and you have 190 millimeter turtleback armor that goes all the way out to the edge of the ship. Now, here's the caveat before anybody gets mad at me. It is flat armor. Okay? It is very flat, much like the Kansas, much like the Minnesota. So, angled well at close range like this, and you will ricochet a lot, unless, of course, they go through the 27 millimeters with 16-inch guns or larger. If they have 16-inch guns, they will overmatch your 27 millimeter upper side plating, and they will pin you regardless of angle, right? But that turtleback armor, ain't nobody getting overmatch on that. So if they shoot waterline thinking they're just going to send you back to the port, you will laugh at them, much like the Italian cruisers do when battleships overestimate their capabilities, and you will simply shrug off all the plink-plinks. We love to see it, right? So use that to your advantage. Psychologically bait the battleships into shooting at your citadel, and then just close the angle on them. Like I said, this thing may not have the best rudder shift in the world, but it actually gets around pretty decently when it comes to turning. So you can easily close the gap on battleships. You can easily close the gap on cruisers and just do what you got to do. Okay? It's hilarious. It really is. But anyway, let's move on. Overview. Full ahead, equipped or can be equipped with an engine boost. Barrage, equipped or can be equipped with main battery reload booster. Big and flammable. Fire set on this ship lasts longer due to her large size and high caliber guns, and that is a thing. Fires in this ship don't get along. So when you get into those fights with those cruisers, you would be surprised just how bad those little freaking turrets or those little turd waffles and their HE can be for you. So don't allow them to sit there and DPM you to death. Try to flank them if you can. Try to hide from them if you have to. But don't let a cruiser just sit there, bow into you, and DPM you, because they will win. Okay? Brest. After proposals for a cruiser with a 23,333 ton, that's a very specific number, displacement were rejected due to limited capabilities, further development was focused on increasing the firepower and size of the ship. This led to a 26,500-ton design mounting 8 new 13-inch 330mm guns in 2 quadruple gun turrets. the foundation that eventually became the Dunkirk-class battleships. So this was the design of the Dunkirk before it became a Dunkirk. So there you go. And she was designed in 1932. So let's take a look at her. I personally like this design. I think a lot of these kind, like the Dunkirk, the Strasbourg, this thing, they're just small enough that it makes them look decent and doesn't make them look off balance. But I like it so far, and I like playing it. So with that being said, let's do our flyby real quick, and we'll get into the gameplay. Alrighty, so one thing I need to remind everybody, this is a small sample size, right? I've only played 4 games. I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody. I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes, alright? Not saying that this is the greatest ship on the planet. All I'm saying is it works for me and my playstyle, okay? I tend to be super aggressive. So is it any like crazy thought to think that I play a lot of battleships? I like to be super aggressive, so a agile, fast battleship that really suits my play style would be something I enjoy. Not something crazy out of the realm of possibility, huh? So, what do I like about the ship? What do I dislike about the ship? And everything in between. Well, the biggest thing that I like about the ship is its mobility. Okay, getting around the map, relatively unseen, getting into positions that people just don't expect you to be in. Allows you a certain level of freedom and also allows you to put the pressure on people in positions that they're not ready for. And we're going to showcase that in the perfect game for you guys here in this one. Now, I will go out on the caveat and say that the biggest thing that I don't like about the ship is the fact that it is so vulnerable to HE. You thought that French battleships like the Jean Bart and the Richelieu, you thought that they were really bad about getting burnt down. Trust me, your biggest disadvantage in the ship is not your armor, okay? This thing has enough armor to be just fine. It's the HE spammers. They are going to be your kryptonite. So avoid open water engagements with them at all costs. But look at that. First shot out across the map. We Citadel and A-Gear. 18,000 damage. We immediately switch over to HE because we're about to go around the corner using our speed boost to help get rid of a destroyer immediately while our Fletcher is engaging him. The brand new German destroyer that's here trying to save the day eats some torpedoes. We get a nasty shot on him as well, getting a fire. This dude's in trouble. This is the quintessential playing yourself into death, right? Like, this guy has put himself in a bad position and he's getting absolutely yeeted for it, and we go ahead and hit him again and finish him off. Now, obviously, with us being here, he's probably going to be ready to shoot us. Veneto eats a torpedo and has beached himself broadside to us. Unfortunately, because we got rid of the destroyer, I had to switch over to using armor piercing. And I had already used my reload booster to shoot at the destroyer. So now I'm not in the best position ever, but I am in a pretty decent position. And look at the shot. Like, is this bad accuracy? Because it seems pretty good to me. Like, as a battleship captain, I'll take this accuracy all day long. And again, I don't understand what the hate is with this ship. Now, I know, again, comes down to everybody has a different playstyle. And if you're one of those people who are used to playing your cruisers sitting in the back, watching from, cover, trying to spam HE or shoot from cover, that's fine. If that's your playstyle. Maybe this line isn't for you. But for me, as an aggressive battleship captain, this thing is hilarious. And much like the Toulon, which I also enjoyed, if you guys don't remember that, go watch my video on the Toulon. Same thing. It is an incredibly fun ship to play. It allows you to play so more differently than any other of the super cruisers, really, because of its ability to just move around the map so quickly. You've got the concealment, you've got the speed, you've got the agility. Just move around the map. And this is what I'm talking about with the whole, like, being able to turn. This guy uses a smoke screen, but smoke screens work both ways. If I don't shoot him, he doesn't spot me. So, he has no idea where I'm at. Now, unbeknownst to me, and also should have guessed it, but unbeknownst to me, this Veneto is actually running the RGA mod, which means he's going to spot me at 3 kilometers. So he's actually going to spot me before he commits to coming around this island, but it's too late. Like, it's too late. I have perfectly anticipated what he's doing, and wait for it. He only gets a 1 kilometer head start, and he can't turn in fast enough. He starts to turn out to get his guns on target. He's already dead before he can fire the guns. Tell me again that this is a bad ship. I don't believe it is. Just say it. It's not a bad ship. It's just got a different playstyle that you have to adapt to. Okay? Again, now look at us. We have completely destroyed this flank. I'm not going to talk about the Fletcher, who did very well initially and then completely got himself murdered against a battleship for no reason. Had smoke screens. He could have just stayed in the smoke, but I digress. He got himself murdered. It's just us over here. Bismarck, bow into us. This is like worst case scenario for us, because we know that French dispersion is terrible, usually. But it's not really the dispersion that's terrible. It's not that it has bad accuracy. It's got bad grouping. If you've ever fired a French battleship's guns, you'll notice that they spread out a lot. They don't like to stick together. The shells are basically allergic to one another. The shells practice social distancing, okay? That's what I'm saying. So if you want to get the most out of your French accuracy, work on grouping. Get those shells to stay together, okay? United we stand. All right? It's simple. But we actually should have played this a lot more aggressively. I believe in my heart that if I played this more aggressively, I have a 200k game on my hands here. Because we were dominating this match. I don't think there was anybody on the enemy team that was going to stop us. I played this passively here because I'm like, okay, well, it's Bismarck. I know he overmatches my 25mm bow. I'm just going to chill. Don't want to get in a rush, overextend, and end up in a situation where everybody focuses me. But by doing that, I limit the amount of damage I can get. There's an Otago out there I could have blapped. There's the Bismarck I could have took all the health from. There's other battleships over there and potentially like more damage that I could have. So by sitting here and just taking what they give us, we're kind of outplaying ourselves. Now here you can see I'm getting great accuracy. I mean, we're shooting 8 rounds down range. We're hitting 6 of 8 rounds at 11 kilometers over an island with no danger to myself. These are the positions where these ships are super strong. Getting on these flanks, winning your flank very quickly, and getting into a position where you can just kind of sit here and reload your guns over and over again. Now, I shoot HE, and watch what the HE does to this Bismarck. Decent chunk, 4 hits, no fires. And with the DPM that you have, setting fires is not going to be a good idea, because you pretty much are going to set a fire, they're going to damage con it, and then by the time you get another fire, they've got their damage con back. It's just not worth it spamming HE most of the time. Can you be on the lookout for HE? Absolutely. If you see somebody you know has just triggered a damage control and you want to take the chance to get a permafire, fine, go for it. But more often than not, if you have AP loaded, you will be more likely to do just insane amounts of damage. And that goes for most battleships, right? And that's why I say that this thing leans more towards the Dunkirk, Strasbourg. It is a battleship more than a cruiser. Just treat it like it. Treat it like a Dunkirk. Treat it like a Strasbourg. If you've played those ships, you know what you're getting. That's what these things basically are. Okay? They're fantastic for what they do. They really are. There are very few battleships in the game that are capable of getting into the positions that these ships are. Okay? That is the beauty of a battlecruiser or a supercruiser, whatever you want to call them. Okay? But we've shown that these things are pretty nasty, right? Like, I think we've all agreed that this thing's pretty nasty. Look at the shot on the Massachusetts. Does this look like bad accuracy to you? Have we had any bad accuracy? We've got 6 citadels, for God's sakes. 2 kills, 150,000 damage done. Does this scream bad accuracy to you? Because I'm telling you, put Scott, Norman Scott, in your inspiration for this ship, and it will wake this ship up for you. Don't believe me? Try it for yourself. Let me know what the results are. But I personally am having a blast with this ship. 2100 base XP, 3 kills, top of the leaderboard, 150,000 damage, in an unupgraded Brest. Not too shabby. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.